Welcome to the Do Nothing Project for whatever the date is today, sometime in February 2022. February 6th, says Sarah, who's sitting over there, my massively pregnant partner. Okay, good to see all the names. Hey Fred, hey Mitch, hey Phyllis, hey Andrew, thank you for moderating. Hey Ruth, hey Ben, hey Kristen, hey Siobhan. Hey Ann, hey Kim, hey James, hey Simon, Audrey, Janet, Cashew. I'm not allowed to keep as many cashews in the house these days on account of them being instant death for my loving wife. So we call them death nuts, and I usually have a stash somewhere. So good to see everyone. Thanks for coming. If you've never been to the Do Nothing Project before, this is it. Thanks. I see Jude. My buddy Jude's here. It is a kind of weekly experiment in ongoing, not even experiment at this point, it's just straight up a regular thing that happens. Experiment, project, in community, in getting together every week and guiding a simple 25-minute practice and discussing some theme occasionally or not. Something fairly simple, which is not what I had planned for tonight, which I'll say something about in a moment. And it's a good thing. It's good to be connected. It's good to feel like other human beings are in your orbit, that you can sit here and be human together in this very pared down way, and that's fine. More than fine, that there's something healing about it. And there's more I could say on it, and maybe I will. Actually, I think I'm going to say a little more about it. So here's the hilarious thing that happened on the way to the DNP tonight. Extremely hilarious. So I always get lots of emails about ADHD and meditation because I am someone who has an ADHD diagnosis and I'm a meditation teacher. And people think, how could that be possible? Because it seems like that's the very thing that occasionally inhabits me is also something that can make it challenging to meditate, depending on the kind of meditation you do. So I answer a lot of questions about ADHD, and I decided that I want to actually try to do something for all those folks who have ADHD. I've been wanting to do this for a while, but not just write something up and sort of a resource, but maybe do a do nothing project about it. And so therein began the interesting thing that happened. So I start, of course, thinking about it and compiling and reading my old notes and finding all the old emails I've sent and trying to compile them into a master document. And I started going down various rabbit holes. I watched my friend Jude's video on ADHD and meditation, which Jude's here tonight and we're gonna link to that. I watched a bunch of other videos on just ADHD in general. I reread all of Gabor Mate's book, Scattered Minds, which is his first book, an excellent book all about ADHD. I basically just started, and the more I read, the more I was writing these notes down, the more I was saying, oh my God, I gotta include that, I gotta include that. And pretty soon, and it kind of peaked about 15 minutes ago, I realized that I actually, through the act of thinking about ADHD and trying to compile all the notes, I actually whipped myself into an intense ADD state, which I'm in right now. And therefore, I'm in the very state that will make it impossible for me to try to articulate what it's like to be ADHD and how to help myself or anybody. So this was a hilarious thing to realize 15 minutes ago, and kind of a panicked thing. I was like, oh shit, what am I gonna do now? Until I had this insight, which is ultimately what I'm gonna end up talking about. So the thing with ADHD is, it is not who you are. It is it's like a visiting energy, and it has various flavors, and they are actually situationally dependent. Like, this is, as someone who's spent so much time observing what it's like, my own mind, I can see that there are various times when I begin to get into what I would call an ADHD place. One of the energies is an energy of kind of restless body feeling with sort of scattered attention, and then this inability to kind of control where I'm going to put my attention. It's like I know I have this important thing to do, but I just start focusing and obsessing on this one thing over here, and I know it's trivial, or I know it's not really the thing that matters, but I can't help myself. There's this sense in which I'm just going there anyway, and that has a particular flavor in my body. And I've had experiences now through the practice where I can literally be like I can notice that energy suddenly come into me, and I can decide whether I want to inhabit it or not. I can be like, oh yeah, I know this energy. This is the monkey ADD energy. And it's like it comes in and I kind of feel it and I just notice it, I accept it, and it's like it moves right through me. And then I just get on doing whatever it is that I wanted to do. And this is very empowering. It's like, wow, you really start to see ADHD kind of comes and goes. It's not your default factory setting. It's a kind of, there are a certain embodied kind of situationally context sort of behavioral repertoires that are connected to it that you can start to get a little space around. So I was feeling, having this happened to me actually last week, and I was feeling all good on myself, about myself for that having happened. And then this thing happened today. And the ADD that's in me now is different. It's another kind of pattern that's related to the ADD. It's this overwhelm pattern of being like you're like cloudy in your mind, you're kind of spaced, and you can't make heads or toes of the totality of what it is you were wanting to talk about. Like, you know, for me, this was the thing that happened year after year after I was trying to finish books after the head trip. I kept getting too ambitious, going too wide, trying to get too many things, and then I'd get overwhelmed and I couldn't. It's like this feeling it'd come upon me in the library where I would just be like, my mind would be totally blown out. And that, it's situationally dependent. Like thinking about how to articulate a big complicated subject brings me to that place. I can sit here and just spontaneously in the moment respond to individual queries and be super present and be able to articulate something genuinely, hopefully useful. But if I'm trying to do this big synthesizing thing and I'm in my mind, I get more and more spread thin, more spread thin until I'm no good at all in terms at helping anyone. And that's what happened. So I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So here's the move. What I did was I realized, who cares? Because so much of this is about just accepting whatever your thing is. Who cares that I'm like that? Who cares I'm in this spaced out place? Because if I give up my mind's idea of what I was trying to accomplish, then it doesn't matter. It's just about going, okay, well, I guess I'm not going to be able to offer this super comprehensive thing because this is just not what's here right now. Something else is here, so I'm going to do something different instead. And if you can communicate to people, oh, you know, it's like, or you're in a place where you're like, I'm a hypomanic, and it's like suddenly I realize the hypomania is here. Now I can kind of step outside that, and sometimes it can pass by, but often it's just like it's in me for a while. So then it's like, well, who cares? This is what's here right now. And based on this, here are some things I'm going to change. I'm not going to maybe do this thing that I knew I should have done because that's not going to be good for the hypomania, or that's not going to be an optimal outcome. Similarly, if I'm in a low state, it's like, okay, I'm in this low depressed state. Well, who cares? This is what's here. If I can accept that this is what's here, so much of the suffering goes away. The suffering is connected to all the ideas of who I was going to disappoint, of the things I imagined I should be doing instead, or imagining a future will always have this. But you won't always have it in the future. Because if you notice any of these states, they come and they go. There's time when there's more of them. There's times when there's less. There's times when they disappear altogether and you're just here. And this is the heart of the healing around working with any kind of condition. It's beginning to notice and track how it changes. First, what it is, what it feels like, its different manifestations, and then accepting this is what's here, accepting this is what's here, tracking how it changes, noticing sometimes it's very intense, sometimes it's not. If you can notice the variation, and it's like basically it's healing in two parts. The accepting is saying, if you're always like this, it's okay. And this is where you get the empowered side of owning your neurodiversity, owning the particulars, the silver lining underneath every condition. But then through the act of acceptance, you begin to move into this deeper territory of actually non-identification, genuinely knowing yourself to not be that pattern. It's a visitor. It's a mind state, a body-mind state that is with you for a while and then it moves on. And then it's with you for a while again. And if you can start to track that what you start to realize is you're the one looking. You're the ground through which this is passing. And again, you come back to noticing you're just the ground, noticing you're just the ground. And there's no suffering in that. Even the body pain, the hurt, it's just pain. And eventually it changes. So, and then you can drop in a lot of self-compassion, because that was going to be the other thing that I wanted to. So I had all these things I wanted to say about ADHD, and I probably will say them at some point. I'll write them up somewhere. But what I want to say now is accept this is what's here. Know that it changes. Not identify. Know that you're in fact coming from this bigger picture. And then just send in the love, because why not? So that's what we're going to do this meditation about. I hope that made sense. And you know what? If it was super ADD, who cares? That's what I'm all about right now. That's what's here. Now there's a lot of talking. Normally in the Do Nothing project, we don't say all that stuff. But I did tonight. So that's what's here. Exactly, Jennifer. The equanimity. The equanimity is accepting it, allowing it, not needing it to be different. So let's meditate with your highly temporarily ADHD guide. 25 minutes, it's 8:13. This is going to go to 8:38 or thereabouts. Thanks, Schmitty, I saw that. And it is challenging to learn. So we can talk more about it after if we have questions about it or whatever. So in case that big spiel felt intimidating or you're worried it's going to be a complicated meditation, it's not. It's going to be basically a practice of being and accepting what's here with some love at the end, some extra love. But for right now, of course, you can always do your own practice if you got a go-to there, or you can follow along with this loose guidance, which is beginning with a few deliberate inhales and exhales. For me, that means breathing out some of the nervous energy from that talk, from getting myself a bit whipped up. And so there's already this two-part piece here. It's like you accept what's here. You accept that, yeah, this energy's here right now. There's lots of thoughts or very few. There's agitation or there's calm. There's physical discomfort or not. Sounds in the environment or it's quiet. It's all good. Really, truly. Let it all be here. Who cares about trying to manage it? Pretending it's not here, trying to get something else to appear. It's insane. What's here is what's here. And even so, we extend our out-breaths because we know that helps. We simultaneously accept what's here and we simultaneously do what helps. And whatever you brought with you is welcome here. It's okay. Sometimes at the beginning of the set, I just put my hand on my chest to help me remember that. That's okay. It's sort of this gesture of like, I got you. no need to be any other way. And then from the hand, from the long exhale, I could start to feel the nervous system settle, this dropping into the body. As you breathe out, really connecting to the sense of ground under you, supported by the cushion in the ground. Feeling that support. You can even breathe in the sense of that sense of support, kind of the mineral energy underneath you. And then it's the user's choice. Some people like to sit and just be. Your attention just goes where it does. It doesn't matter. You're not needing to change any of the conditions. You're just existing as you are. You're aware. That awareness is like the ground state. Various things pass by, thoughts, feelings, sounds, more intense, less, disappearing or staying a long time. That's fine. You can be in those states. You can be in anything. It's just part of what changes. It's not the core of you. Core of you is what's watching. More like weather systems or energy systems. Now, to help support this, some people like to work with a home base, just a simple object to pay attention to. Maybe the feeling of the breath, or tingling in the hands, or maybe a point in the belly, or maybe a sound like a vent or a heater, the fridge. It's just a really simple task to give the mind. Give your attention, it kind of pours into that thing so that you're not feeding the worries, the problem making. And try this for a bit if that sounds available. And what's here is what's here. Can you even have the stance? It doesn't matter. How about even past that? I welcome this. I welcome this itch, this sadness, this scatteredness, this restlessness, this ease, this tingliness, that sound of the chime, the wind. Just what's blowing through, what's massaging your body-mind right now. Some throb, some ache, some tingle. Mind wanders, that is not a problem. So you have a wandering mind, temporarily off in something, and you come back. No problems. Just things happening, and you're kicking back and watching them, accepting them. Sometimes in them, sometimes popped out. That's the rhythm. Coming back to ground. Ground is the sense of presence in the body. It's the way it blends with your own awareness, this beingness that is absolutely steady, always with you. Even when we're not noticing it, it's here. Everything is figure over the ground. These patterns come up from inside us. They change, they intensify. When we become identified with them, we lose the ground. We forget that we're this bigger thing. The way to remember is to remember ground. Accept what's here. In the accepting and the noticing, you're not in the thing, not entirely. Backing up into your bigger identity. Or maybe you're just following the breath. It's the same training. Watching it, feeling it, even enjoying it. Okay, so we'll end with the self-compassion practice, actually, which is good medicine. Just really, however you are, it's like, can I just send in some love? Whether you're feeling sad, whether you're feeling relaxed, whether you're feeling happy, whether you're feeling scattered, whether you're feeling anxious, it's all right. All the times you think you need to be a particular way, judging yourself for being this way or that way, all the ways you imagine you're letting people down. That's a story ADD big time. The painfulness of like missing contact. You can give yourself the contact now. You can see yourself and accept however you are in this moment and just say, it's okay. And maybe it means putting a hand on your chest, or just the hands are on the knees, or it's okay. May you be well. This body, mind, working so hard. It's like always trying to get it right. It's already right. Begin there. Kind of reparenting. It's okay. It's okay to have all these things move through us. You're connecting to wanting the best for yourself as you are. And that moves out into the sense of the common humanity piece. There isn't a person here who can't relate in some way to judging themselves around something, or feeling overwhelmed by a pattern, a mood, a condition, feeling locked into their fate. It's not so. The isolation is the worst part. But there's no isolation here. There's everyone relating, feeling that common connection. It's like, may I be well. May you be well. May all of us be well. Accepting who we are and still caring. Thank you for your practice, everyone. I hear you, Mitch. Thanks everyone for the kind words. Yeah, it was interesting. I had a hard time a few days ago, and it really blindsided me. It was, this is a different pattern than ADD. Um, just this thing that moved through, and it was hard to get space around it. It was you get so identified. You think, oh, this is how things are always going to be. This is who I am. And it's really about noticing, trying to get really clear about what's here. And when you're really still suffering, it means there's some part of what's here that you haven't gotten clear about. And sometimes the way to get clear is to talk about it. So I talked about it with Sarah, and she helped me realize that it was the feeling of isolation. The way your own hurt, when you're hurting, cuts you off from other people because you're consumed by it. And that was the thing I hadn't seen, the feeling of isolation. And in the seeing it, all of a sudden it got a lot more manageable. So it's the same principle. Oh, you're welcome, Peggy. You're welcome, Jeff. Oh, great point, Elise. Yeah, so hilarious. ADHD showed up tonight in a huge way, and ADHD ends up being the useful thing. And I'm like, 10 minutes before, I'm just like, oh my God, this is the worst. Then you realize, who cares? So I'm blown out. It only matters if I think I need to still keep doing the thing I need to do. But you don't have to do the thing you do. You just need to be the thing you are. So, oh man. Thanks for all these kind words. I love hearing these reports, James. And I'm sorry I missed a few, friends, as they're going by. Medicine Man started bawling a minute into the introductory sermon. Random sermon. Nice, Emily. Yeah, I hear you, Emily. Sometimes you're not in the place for that. So Shalon's just saying 10% Happier podcast and magazine have a focus on anxiety. I haven't looked. I'll look. Nice, Pam in New Zealand. Yeah, totally, Laura. Lots of people, folks with ADHD who can relate. Yeah, Simon, 6-year-old recently diagnosed with ADHD. Yeah, it was part of what I was trying to do was compile resources around that. And a great book for ADHD is Gabor Mate's Scattered Minds. His first one has some really good resources for parents or tips for parents in it, but there's also books all about that. Yeah, ADHD and the inner critic, totally. Thank you. Oh, good to see you, by the way. Good to see your name. Yeah, and the deep point in this, which is so crazy, you think it's a factory setting, especially with these diagnoses like bipolar or ADHD. I mean, for myself, you really think, oh, I can't possibly change those things. And in some ways, it's true that you can't, you are going to have the energy you're going to have for your life. But the act of accepting them and seeing them clearly, how they change, is what gives you the understanding that you're not them, that you really are. And they can be there and you can still not identify. They can be there so strong and you can know yourself to be not them. So you don't need to get rid of them. It's just like, I wish someone had told me that in my 30s, Oh, Emma, I'm glad you like the 4 Elements podcast. Yeah. Totally, Brooke. Sharon saying it's hard to accept myself when I see myself affecting others when I want to be more how they want me to be. It hurts. That's part of the suffering of it. Wanting to be how they want you to be. Yeah, but you can only be how you are. It's like owning that. Then all these boundaries become possible with other people, with your work, with like, I thought I'd be writing 500 pages books. That's what I wanted to write. I wrote one like that. I only write 800-word meditations now, or tiny short articles. I realized based on the energies that are in me, I can't do those big books in the same way. It's like the fact that I did it once is a miracle. It's just not, but I can still get a lot of fulfillment out of writing. It just won't look like my mind thought it needed to look like. I thought I needed to get this kind of thing or the accolades from the intellectual mainstream because I was going to write the book about meditation or consciousness or whatever. It was like, dude, what about just doing what you actually can do based on who you are and just own it? Great shares here. Love these shares, Diana, totally. In some ways, Ruth. Thank you, TuckPix. This community. It is helpful to connect to all the different energies. What's interesting is all the different energies all the passing energies that we have, they change so much. It's so variable. There's so many of them. Anyway, friends, it's been a great evening. I'm going to jump out soon. Well, I'm glad to hear it, Luana. Luana, nice to meet you. Come back. Schmitty, I'm glad you like the Mind Bod Pod. We're trying to work out the podcast. We're a whole bunch from new that we've just recorded. We're really excited about it. We're realizing that we maybe need to signpost a little more that there is this practice, that it's really there's going to be a part where you're going to be asked to do a practice for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And I think that's kind of a learning curve to get over for people who are used to kind of just nonstop chit-chat podcasts. But thanks, Anne. Anyway, friends, okay. That's it for this week. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Lily. Thanks to all the regulars. Really appreciate this community. Looking forward to seeing you next week. No doubt there's things coming up this week, but CEC tomorrow night. Andrew posted it. And I'm going to the recording studio to record more calm meditations tomorrow. So that's what's happening. Thank you to my beautiful partner, our little baby, the belly. Good night, everybody. Bye, Australia. Love Australia. I want to come there. New Zealand, too.